that you get in the gym, you just love just pushing the weights and just lifting them, just feel good and building that muscle. And then I got into the real world and got a job, and this is what happened. So, so what were the sports you were playing? You did, when you were younger?
So I did field hockey, cheerleading, and lacrosse.
Field hockey and lacrosse are kind of rough. They're kind of almost about like field hockey and lacrosse, but they're different in ways, right?
Yeah, so field hockey and lacrosse are pretty similar. I guess one's just on the ground and one's in the air. I would say field hockey was like my main sport. I coached field hockey for a little bit too. But yeah, pretty similar. And then all of the sports, like to play any sport, you have to be in shape. And I think that is something in high school they're kind of pushing more, is like getting into the gym and doing more of like the weight aspect of it, not just the conditioning on the field and running. So that definitely is what kind of led me into like learning about the gym and loving bodybuilding.
Yeah, that's a great thing, especially when you're young. I interviewed a lady a while back. Her name is Jamie. She's a teacher, but also she loves using kettlebells for workouts, and she even teaches her students how to use them. I mean, she's an amazing lady. I mean, you should check her out. I mean, just how these kids just love to lift and carry stuff. Children are very impressible. If you can really find something they like, they will like it. Here we got here. Shout out to here, my man KL the Wanderer. He's here. He says, "Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, brother?" Also, we have here my man Warrior 2000. Shout out to Warrior. Hey, says hi, Kaylee. All right, hi there, brother. Also, my man Balls Deep. He says, "Good afternoon, gorgeous." You gotta be careful, Balls Deep. His moniker is here. It says Chicago in here. Thank you, brother. He says, "Smash the like button." I appreciate that. Also, he says, "Peace and blessings, beautiful." He's a fan. And this is for our man KL. He says this. He says, no, it's from my Warrior. Says, "Look very nice today." Oh, wow. Yeah. I tell you, Kaylee, when I get a new girl in here, these guys be like, "Oh, George got a new girl in here. She's fine as a motherfucker." He's excited. So before you were doing CrossFit, then what make you get into competitive bodybuilding? I know, say, you're dealing with the pandemic.
Yeah, so I would say when I first started lifting in high school, I used to watch like a bunch of bikini competitors on YouTube and was always like, "Oh, that would be so cool to do someday," but never really thought that I was going to do it. And so then, like I said, I'm really competitive. I love every aspect of like fitness in the gym. So I thought CrossFit was a good like thing for college because it was like the similar aspect of like the sports where you're like training a lot. And I did like a team, so I would compete like a male female like partner. So it was like similar because I was working together with someone. But I'd say during the pandemic, so all the CrossFit gyms were closed, and I had like a little bit of equipment at my house, like some kettlebells, dumbbells, bands, and I would sometimes go to like a school playground and would do like pull-ups and stuff. And I was like, you know what, I can do like bodybuilding during the pandemic when all the gyms are closed with the stuff that I have. And it was just something that like the more and more I started like doing it on my own, and I was like getting sucked back into YouTube videos of like watching people do like home workouts and stuff. I was like, I really think this is more of what I'm more passionate about this than like the competition CrossFit realm. And shortly after the pandemic is when I hired my first bodybuilding coach and did the OCB show.
Now, what were that experiences like when you first started competing, and who was your coach at the time when you were competing?
So my first coach, her name is Jess. She's out of Texas. She was a competitor that I had followed on Instagram for years, and I kind of just like hired her off the bat based on I liked her like message, and I was her first like bodybuilding competitor. So it was definitely an interesting experience, like working together on that. I think she's a great coach. Now I work with Andrew Barry, which I love. He's an awesome competition coach. He is very, very good at working with like females. So it was definitely, it was like, I didn't really know what to expect going into it because I had no friends that were in bodybuilding. I didn't really know any bodybuilders other than like what I saw on YouTube. So I really didn't know what to expect from my first coach and my first show. What I can say though is that like I loved it, and the feeling of like working so hard towards like getting on stage is just like no other. And it's definitely like the most discipline and motivation I've ever had in my life. So it's just, the drive to continue to keep doing it is getting higher and higher.
Yeah, because when you get into sport, you have to understand the aspects of it, from the training to the dieting, and also you compete in OCB, which is a natural organization
The
where,
first, yeah, what I used to.
yeah, and that is a different style compared to NPC and IFBB. Most of the competitors are either enhanced, but they are trying to get more into the natural style of it. And you're, like I said, when was it when you decided to switch from OCB to NPC?
So my first season, my first show was in the beginning of September, which was OCV. And then I told my coach, I was like, we prepped for this show. It was the main event in Biddeford, Maine. And when I got off stage, I was like, oh my gosh, Jess, like this was the best thing ever. I loved all of it. I would love to keep going. So then in October, Alpha Elite has the competition Summer Shredding. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's not sanctioned with OCB or NPC. It's kind of a one-off show. So I went out to Houston, Texas for that. And after doing that show and seeing my coach in person, she kind of was like, I think that you should take a stab at the NPC. I think you would really like it. So I did one more month in November. I did the Long Island Championship. So I did it all in one season. I went from OCB to NPC in one season. It just was over a 3-month time span.
Yeah, it's a process switching from one organization to other. I think we see a lot more competitors coming from the OCB because there's an opportunity. Because anybody can tell you the NPC is where it's at, where you really want to go to the top level bodybuilding, because it started all IFBB and NPC, and also the biggest show of all in the bodybuilding is the Olympia. I mean, that is, I watched it last year. It was a great show. What's your thoughts on it, especially in your division now that Sid Gillen's retired, and you heard that Missy Trescott is moving over?
Yeah, I'm super excited for this year's Olympia, and just this year's IFBB figure season. Obviously Sid is the queen of figure, and I love Sid. I think she is such an amazing person. I love listening to Sid talk. I just think she's so inspirational and just so positive, and she is an awesome face for figure in female bodybuilding in general. But I love Missy. Missy's been my favorite bodybuilder ever for a female division, since I started. I just also think that she's really positive and just a really good role model for people getting into the sport. So I think that's awesome for the figure division. I think she's gonna crush it. Her shape is insane. I think she's gonna be in the top of the Olympia this year. My goal obviously this year is to qualify, but we'll see. I'm just happy to be competing this year and happy to be feeling more confident about competing this year. But I can't wait to see what happens at the Olympia, and I think it's gonna be awesome for figure that Missy moved over.
So you are competing this year. You have picked a show yet, or you still, you and your coach are thinking about what you want to do?
So I'm currently in prep right now. I kind of picked out my favorite way, I guess, to do it. I like doing this for clients and I like doing this for myself now, is to kind of pick okay, I'm going to aim for this month to compete, because and kind of take a look at the shows. So I'm going to compete this spring, and because it's the beginning of the season, there's so many shows, almost every single weekend there's a possibility to compete. And I'll probably wait until I'm maybe a month out to commit to a show. So I'm looking at the April-May range of show dates, but nothing signed, nothing set in stone. But I have a rough idea of where I want to compete, and hopefully doing a couple different shows in that time frame.
Well, like I said, we shoot for April. The biggest show, I think the first show, especially for figure, is the Triple O Dynasty.
That's
Sid,
cool.
yeah, and y'all gonna get a big chunk of change. That's $9,000. And just also, I heard that the Pittsburgh Pro
Yeah.
They're putting a big chunk of change. Except for they don't have women's bodybuilding Pittsburgh Pro. I'm not a fan of the Manions and their stuff. I mean, I'm just me. I've been doing this for a long time, longer than been a fan of bodybuilding longer before you were born. And I've been a fan of women's bodybuilding. I've really started getting to other divisions a little more because I'm expanding myself in the content. But truthfully, I respect what y'all ladies do, the work you put in, the commitment to this. And I mean, Sid and both Missy are just amazing women. They're just top level competitors. Missy, being a 3-time fitness champion and coming back after the injury she had the year before last. And then Sid, what she did, she's in the 8 club. Some say she could have pushed and maybe got as high as Iris Kyle, hit number 10, but I think she really wants to set back. But one person I'm a fan of, you guys know I'm a fan of hers. I can't help but bring her up, and that is the lovely, the Miss Beautiful Andrea Shaw.
She's amazing. Yeah.
She is so amazing. I mean, she really has brought a certain level, especially for women's bodybuilding, and really great look, muscle, femininity. I mean, I'm a fan of hers. I mean, I'm a fan of all the ladies, but most definitely I'm a fan of hers, and I think it's amazing women. Like, as you talked about earlier, also I put this out like Missy could possibly maybe move up the figure because you see right here, she's not too far from Sarah Vilgas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like I said, sometimes it's always the issue with the frame and all like that. So we have some comments here, and this is from my man. Shout out to my man. Sorry, my man Balls Deep. He says. He says Schmo gang, 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 gang. Yeah, I know that. Also, he says this. He says she's sexy and swole as AF. Okay. And also, this is from my man KL. He says, Kaylee, did anyone ever told you that you look like a little Scarlett Johansson? Maybe that's just me. So you ever have somebody say you look like someone like
No, like literally never. I just feel like I never get like. I feel in college people used to tell me I look like Billie Eilish, but I don't see that at all. I think it was just because I had like really blonde hair then. But no, I've never really gotten that or really any celebrity look-alike.
Yeah. You kind of had that little bit of a scar, a little bit of Billy, something like that. Just
Yeah, I don't really see either. That was just like a when someone said that, actually a couple people said it to me. I think it's also because in college for a little bit I had like some colored hair, and Billy always has some like funky hair going on, and like so, yeah.
Yeah, and Billy's pretty young. She's been around for quite some time. Here we got here from our man. Shout out to my man. Balls. He says, "What do she want to gain from female bodybuilding?" So, as a competitor, what would you want out of the sport for yourself?
I just love bodybuilding, and I love like challenging myself. Bodybuilding is definitely like the hardest thing that I've ever done. So I just like to see what the next level I can push to. Um, I don't know. I guess just continue. Like I just look for like discipline in myself through bodybuilding. And I obviously like want to do well in the sport. So I'm looking to hopefully get a top 3 like pro win someday. And yeah, just to continue to build my discipline. I would love for this season to hopefully bring me more like girls, even if they're just coming to me for like questions on bodybuilding. I'd love to coach more like women in bodybuilding. Hopefully be like an influence on other people, especially in like I'm from Maine and bodybuilding is really small. So it'd be really cool to influence more people that maybe are on the fence and thinking about it in Maine or the New England community to step on stage at some point. Even if it is just like a bucket list thing, I just think it'd be cool to inspire more women to try it.
Well, like the main
Kind
part
of all
of
over the place with that answer, but
that's all right. That's all right. That's good. You really expressing what you're feeling. Just appreciate
yeah.
that. But yeah, Maine, that's a very small state. I know it's part of the New England area. Like Massachusetts, Vermont. Pennsylvania. I know a couple ladies who live in around about Massachusetts. Robin Mays interviewed her. Jody Lyons, she's from Boston. A lady I interviewed from Rhode Island. That's Angela Nori. I mean, it's a growing community. It's just you got all have to get together and form something. So
Yeah, I would say
well,
Massachusetts, there's definitely a lot more, especially females. Maine and New Hampshire, I feel like are Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont. I feel like there's some, but there's not a lot. Like, so it'd just be cool to inspire more people to try it and to like push themselves. And because I know there's a lot of people. I work at a supplement store, and so I know a lot of people are interested. They tell me all the time how they're interested. So it'd be cool to actually like see them do it and like take that next step and like especially with the new fit model division. I think that that would be a great like entry level for a lot of people to like try it and like do the thing that they've been thinking about doing. So
well, here's the thing. My feelings on the fit model division. Excuse me. I'm not a fan of it. I understand it's a great division to start out, especially for competitors, and it's always a way to make marketability and get more mainstream. But I feel like this bodybuilding is about the evolution of athletes. And we bring in another division that's just going to really much, in my opinion, this is my opinion, clog up the system a little bit, where you could have just fixed the problems you had now in the other division. Even though if the bikini girls are getting to look like more like figure girls, then tell them to pull back a little bit. If the figure girls looking more like the physique competitors, tell them to pull back a little bit. You know, it's so easy to solve a problem, but you know what? It's like it's just try to slap some on top of it. But everybody is excited about it. I'm I'm not. So yeah, I have no.
I think it's a good I think it's a good place for people to like if it's something that they've kind of thought about doing and it's they want to like go for it and try it. And I don't know, I think it's a good like entry level for the NPC. Like I think it's a good, especially when they're trying to push more like natural competitors as well. um I think it's a good entry level step for competitors. I don't know how I feel about the IFBB and the Olympia version of it, but definitely for NPC, I think it's awesome. But
Remember, I was talking with a lady who was a friend of ours. She went to university. A friend of hers was competing there. They said like 600 bikini girls. Whew, you gotta imagine how many you do this new division. It's gonna, might take some shows longer. You might have to do a whole, because usually I
yeah,
think
today.
you might put an extra day just for that division. You figure out bikini or cut down the numbers, or just keep it as like a thing for the NPC, and then you eventually you evolve. You go to like a bikini or other division you feel like you fit in. It's all this. We have here. It's just